Report.
Everything's status quo, sir.
Very well. If anyone needs me, I'll be in my ready room.
Hello and welcome to the Readier Room, the only and longest-running Star Trek Next Generation rewatch podcast. Every week, we're bringing you behind-the-scenes stories of Star Trek The Next Generation from the people who were behind those scenes every week of production. My name is Mitchell Mells, Chief Consultant of Services at Paramount, and with me is my life partner, Brandon Hobbs. Brandon, how are we doing today?
Well, a hearty dabo to you, Mitch.
Hardy Davo. Davo.
Hearty dabo. We were just speaking off mic about Rashomon.
Right.
Not a small magical creature that you catch inside a capsule.
No, although it does sound like that.
Surprisingly. You would think it is. But it's instead a movie about samurai, I guess, right?
It's something like that. It's mostly just people sitting around wondering where it all went wrong. Kind of like the Great Depression.
Yeah. All I know is that Star Wars is based on it.
Now, I thought Star Wars was based on cereal.
Cereal?
Like adventure
Like-
cereal.
Oh, not the breakfast food.
Well, no, that's like, I don't know. It's always George Lucas. Oh, yeah, I used to eat all this adventure cereal in my
cereal.
youth. Yeah.
By General Mills.
Yeah, right.
They must have discontinued that, like Oreo O's.
Yeah. I wait, that's how that's pronounced? I always said Oreos.
Oreos?
Yeah.
Maybe that's how they. I've probably beaten this to death, but for the longest time, the only place you could get those was in Korea, South Korea.
Right. I always remember seeing the logo, and
Yeah,
there's something about the Korean alphabet that is wild to me.
it looks like alien language.
It's the rounded nature of it. All those circles.
It looks like something you'd see in like Signs or something.
Or Seinfeld, even.
Or Seinfeld. It's Seinfeldian.
Right. True Seinfeldian language writing system.
Seinfeldian cereal. I used to import Oreo O's from South Korea.
Just for the thrill of it?
Yeah, it made it a little more. I mean, Oreo O's are really good,
But
it made it a little more special.
I just like receiving things in the mail.
Yeah, that's cool too. You have a few drinks, you do some online shopping, and you forget you bought any of it. And it's like you give little presents to yourself throughout the week.
Then you make an unpacking video just for fun. Upload it to the YouTube channel. You're like, oh, what do I got? It's my 4th shipment of Oreos.
Right. And then you make an unbirthing video.
Right. Or a rebirthing video. Depending on the order of these events.
Right.
It's a lot to take into account. But sadly, I am without Oreos today. I'll have to just inject sugar straight into my veins for the same thrill.
Yeah, the usual. That's why I got my Diet Coke.
Yeah. Well, no, if
Got
you want
synthetic sugar.
you're having Diet Coke. If you wanted the sexual thrill of a sugar high, you would go for the real thing. Or even New
Right,
Coke.
Mexican Coke.
Yeah, okay.
Gotta get it in that glass bottle.
Okay, I have to talk on this. I can't stand... There was a trend, I don't know, 10 years ago, where every soda pop came out with, made with real sugar. Oh, it's Coke, made with real sugar. And
Yeah.
right. It was gross. It was way too sweet.
I don't think it tasted different at all.
Oh, it was discernibly different.
That's why I was disappointed. None of them tasted different to me.
I thought they tasted different and worse. It was a downgrade.
I'd still rather be ingesting real sugar, I guess, if it came down to it.
By the spoonful?
I mean, yeah, if I must. It's probably better for you, right? I mean...
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you don't have the brown sludge that makes up the rest of the soda pop, but what I do in the morning is instead of cereal, I'll just get a bowl and pile sugar into it, and then eat the sugar as if it was cereal.
Do you pour some milk into it?
That milk's on the side, actually. It's the equivalent of Skamen. You know, I'll I'll get a spoonful of sugar, dip it into the milk, and then eat it.
What'd you call it? Skamen?
Skamen.
Skamen?
Skamen.
Skamen?
Skamen.
Gay men?
Gay men, yes.
Oh, gay men.
Yeah.
Oh, gay men.
Homosexuals.
I see.
Right. But
I thought I heard you wrong, so
No.
I made up a word. Have you ever actually had a spoonful of sugar?
have I ever eaten a spoonful of sugar? No, but I have eaten sugar cubes, much like a horse would.
Do horses eat those?
Yeah.
I thought they ate carrots.
Well, horses eat a variety of things. I mean, they'll eat anything that's in front of them, but what you do is you put some sugar cubes on your palm and hold that in front of the horse, and then the horse treats you like a friend for the time being and gently licks the sugar cube out of your hand.
Besides, they won't kick you for now.
I've noticed.
I saw a video recently of two Central South American, probably Mexican guys trying to mate two horses, and the female just kicks the male horse in the head and kills him.
I think I've heard of that.
Like
Now,
instantly, like a whip.
I've noticed that horses have a much more difficult time kicking things in front of them than behind them.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So you got to stay in front of them.
Oh,
if you ever come face to face with a horse,
you're safe. Now, if you ever come face to rear with a horse, then you're in trouble.
You know that you better not try anything funny, I guess is what we're saying.
Now, I have a horse fact for you. Do you want to hear a horse fact?
Yeah, sure. Give me a horse fact.
So picture the leg of a horse. Are you picturing it? Now close your eyes and you can probably see the image of a leg of a horse. Now, if you were to take that body part and describe an analog to it in the human body, what would you say is the human body analog of the horse's leg?
A leg.
Well, that's what you would think, right? But it's not the leg. The closest analog in the human body is actually the knuckle, maybe the finger. Because the horse's foot, where you put the shoe, is its fingernail, right?
Okay.
And protruding out of that is the joint next to that is the knuckle.
Why do I feel like you're making this up?
I'm not making this up. You can look.
You are making this up. You're telling me that a horse's leg is just a giant finger.
Yes.
That's not true.
I encourage you to look it up. I encourage everybody listening along at home to look it up.
Horse leg, giant finger.
Okay, I don't know if the article's going to be phrased that way. Like, it's a...
This says a horse's knees are the joint that corresponds to our wrists.
Okay, that's...
The whole foot is like a giant finger. God damn it.
Nailed it.
God damn it. No, okay. It says the foot, though, not the leg. So it's...
This sounds like cope to me. I think you're coping.
No. It's not the whole leg.
Cope.
It's just the foot. It's like half the leg that corresponds to the finger.
Are you a horse scientist?
No, I'm looking at a diagram, though, and they've color-coded it.
Okay. Well, I think, just like everything in life, there's some shades of gray here.
Uh-huh. It's a Star Trek episode.
Right. The horse's giant finger. Well,
I could see that being an episode.
Be sure to come back next week for more horse facts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're horse guys.
New segment.
Now. Yeah. So this week's
anyway
question of the week, by the way, comes from one Frank Oswald, who says, "Hello, admirals. I'm writing pro bono. And so, all right, let me try it one more time. Hello, admirals. I'm writing pro bono as
pro bono
as legal counsel. What you're doing is wrong and potentially illegal, as your counsel, I have to recommend you cease all activities at once. Please. Please.
No. Did we have legal counsel?
I guess. I mean, he's working. He's
Frank
working
Oswald.
pro bono.
Frank Oswald.
I
don't. The name does not ring a bell.
I have no idea what this is referring to.
You know what Frank Oswald sounds like though?
What does it sound like?
He sounds like a short little Italian guy with no hair. You know?
Kind of rotund.
Yeah. A little belligerent.
Well,
doesn't really know when to stop shouting.
I'll be fair. That sounds like the perfect lawyer. Like if I had to hire somebody.
Wow, that's true. I guess this Frank Oswald character is the perfect lawyer. Huh. What do you know? Well, anyway, I guess the real meat here is what are we doing that's illegal?
I assume this is directed to you. I don't know if you're up to something outside of our time together.
I didn't do anything.
Yeah?
What are you doing?
Look, you go to a track, the mini horse track. It's not the most savory, but it's also not illegal.
Wait, you've been racing pygmy horses again?
I know we've talked about this, but you have to understand that I have a system.
Come on. No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. You know you're gonna lose.
Okay, I'll run through this for the benefit of the listeners, just to establish how much of a sure thing this is. So the thing about pygmy horses is that their height ranges it's a very small gamut, between 2 1/4 to 2 7 inches feet tall, and depending on where they fall in that system, that's how you choose who the winner's going to be. Horses that are 2'5", are statistically, and again, this is all statistics, much more likely to win, to come out ahead. And there's a lot of reasons for that: the condition of the track, the wind speed, the air resistance. I could,
and also, you know, there's only so small a midget can get.
Exactly.
Too.
But, and this is what I keep trying to get you to understand. Statistics are not. It's probability. It's not a sure thing, right?
I mean, yeah, of course.
You have to, if it's an 80% chance to win, you got to be prepared for that 20%. And sometimes you run bad. And look, I know what the gambling commission said. I know what the expert veterinarian that they called in. There's nothing about fixing going on here, and it's in either sense of that word. They can still mate and breed. And I really don't appreciate random pro bono lawyers writing in to insinuate that there's something wrong with this, because there's not. It's just strategy and statistics.
Well,
they made a movie about the athletics guy in baseball, Moneyball. When am I going to get money pygmy horses?
They made a movie exactly about this called Wee Biscuit.
I remember that. That's what inspired me. Yeah, that came out like decades ago with that short Spider-Man.
That little Tommy Tugboat.
Right.
Toby Tugboat. Toby the Tugboat.
What a spirited individual.
Yeah. You ever see the what do you call him? Paparazzi photos of him?
Yeah. He always
looks really angry.
I would be too. At that height.
I think his real problem is he's always hanging out with Leo. And
well, what's his sign?
Yeah.
What sign do Leos not get along with?
Yeah. All right. I'll move on now.
If you have a question,
I don't know. To answer your question, I'm not sure.
I think it's cancer. Nobody gets along with cancer.
Least
of all dragons. If you have a question of the week that you want us to answer on our question of the week segment that we do every week, send us an email at thereadierroom@gmail.com, and that's with a capital T and 2 capital R's. Or you can tweet at us at the Readier Room, and if it's a good question, we'll answer it weekly.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, did you know that this is a Star Trek podcast?
Oh yeah, that's right.
This week,
sometimes I get it mixed up.
Yeah, I get it confused with our sports betting podcast and our race realism podcast, and,
our knitting podcast, our film podcast.
Right. Life is a never-ending series of recording podcasts.
Our hiking podcast, our food podcast, our box opening podcast.
Well, the hiking podcast is fun because we record that live on the hike.
Right. Yeah, it's not really that much more work.
No. It's a lot of grunting, though.
Yeah, which I guess is, why people watch it. Or listen to it.
So this week, we watched A Matter of Trust.
A Matter of Perspective.
Right, why did I write down A Matter of Trust? That's so strange.
So you want to tell me?
I'm just a big fan of Billy Joel.
It's a matter of perspective. Because you see, the main conflict of the episode is about different perspectives, and also it starts with Picard painting.
Right.
Which is also a matter of perspective.
Which is what we call a metaphor in the biz.
Mm-hmm. Even though it leads to nothing.
Right.
There's no wrap around there.
I'll say it is hilarious in the moment.
It's pretty funny. It's cute. I don't know. But yeah. A matter of perspective. This was an episode that got, I don't know, like it felt like half of us loved it and half of us hated it, and for different reasons, because there was I think one of the producers, I can't remember who, loved the script but hated the actual final episode. The director found it incredibly difficult to work with. I remember Ira despised the episode, and a few writers did. But what do you think?
Quite liked it.
Yeah.
I thought the conceit of it was just very interesting. I liked the idea of it being somewhat of a mystery, somewhat of a procedural, but just the core of it being solving a crime. And yeah. I think that the use of technology with the holodeck is, I don't know, it's visually interesting, but also kind of unnecessary. Not that it shouldn't have been there, but rather that you could tell this story in basically any setting that has detectives and police and such.
Yeah.
Like you could do the same thing just with a modern day courtroom and calling witnesses to the stand and such. But it was an inspired way to, inspired take on that. So, as somebody who just enjoys kind of, mystery and crime stories, I was really on board with it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really into the whole, I mean, I don't want to say it, but the Rashomon style of each side tells their story, and you have to pick out what you think is true in each interpretation, and none of them end up being objectively true, of course. So
yeah, and that's
it's fun.
That's what's cool about it, that you're wondering, exactly what the true details are, but the way that the thing is solved in the end doesn't really elucidate on most of that, right?
Yeah. So you're kind of left to imagine what actually happened.
Yeah.
I also kind of just enjoy the whole concept of Riker sleeping with one too many women.
Yeah. It's this is the Riker that we've always had in our mind.
Yeah.
This is the Frakes we've always had in our mind. Which is kind of it's kind of funny because this episode really came in handy. It proved pivotal. I can't speak. In Frakes' defense from similar allegations later on when he was filming Beyond Belief Fact or Fiction. So.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It saved saved his skin that day.
That's serendipitous, isn't it? But yeah, this episode, I mean, a lot of what we see from Frakes in this episode, a lot of it was inspired just because Frakes was so difficult to direct.
Oh yes.
I mean, we've talked about it. he was constantly getting distracted by some new fad or like obsession or woman or cause or whatever.
New
right?
fat.
Yeah, and if new fat, yes, which continued to be a problem as the series went on. And so, each director, like, I don't think there was any director that really worked or felt that he worked well with them. And so we'd end up doing, take after take after take of Frakes' scenes, right? So the writers had this idea, and this was kind of just like grafting this onto this episode that they had written. They had this idea of, let's write Riker as Frakes, right? But frame it as, a retelling from someone else's perspective, right? And that way we can gauge the audience reaction, and then maybe retcon the character a little, make it a little simpler to direct Frakes, just let him do what he wants, Like the show was already getting kind of bigger, and people liked him, so we wanted to see if maybe we could kind of let the leash off a little, or they did at least.
Didn't come to that.
No, it didn't come to that because, we, like I said, we were going to gauge audience reaction on this with the episode, but by the time the episode was airing, our audience reaction gauger had broken down. There was something wrong with that. I don't know what, but it took a few weeks to get it fixed again. By then, it was like there was no detectable reaction anymore. So that's kind of lost to time. We'll never know. We could have had a very different track if that proved popular.
That might be the direction we take it when it comes to producing Frakes. I'm sorry, Riker,
yeah. Right.
the next venture after Picard. The one,
of course, once Patrick kicks it.
Right, which we all, it can't come soon enough. It's waiting for that to show itself out.
I really, really did enjoy the asshole Riker stuff. It was very funny.
It was. Him just, clocking an old man.
Very, very explicit use of the word rape in this episode. I was not expecting that. I did not remember that, and I did not expect it.
It was a different time, to be sure. A much sexier
It certainly
time.
Was. Yeah. Riker just walks into the middle of the hologram and says, "I certainly didn't rape her."
It sounded more like a guilty conscience than anything else.
Yeah.
Now, how many times do you think Frakes has said that phrase over his life?
Ooh, too many. We've been an audience to that a few times.
Right. Anytime we had to, cast a female guest star.
Some days he'd just show up on set and make an announcement, a preemptive announcement.
Apropos of nothing.
Yeah. Well, I certainly didn't rape her. Or her.
Good times on the lot.
Yeah.
So this episode starts with perhaps the funniest scene, aside from the one that we just quoted, where Picard's taking a painting class.
Yes, with like 3 other people on the ship
that have names but are never seen again.
Right.
Who do you remember their names?
No. Do you?
It was Commander something and Ensign something.
It's closer than me.
Yeah.
I didn't even know their ranks.
And
are those their ranks? Are you lying to me?
I'm not lying. Why would I lie about this?
Don't ask that question.
I've asked that question more than any person in recorded history.
More than any person in recorded history too.
Hell yeah. So Picard's taking a writing a painting class, and Data comes in and he's kind of deconstructing everybody's paintings, and he's quoting a lot of art movements and such, which is really astounding to me that the writers were able to write that, because couldn't look it up on the internet at the time. So people just actually had to know things, which is insane to me.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I think it was Ron who was really into this art stuff at the time, and like really weird alternative stuff too. Like Data mentions Dadaism,
right,
and which is bizarre. For those who don't know, Dadaism is basically it's about duality, right? It's about, like, at its core, it's basically there's a Dada and there's a baby, right? And the baby asks for cummies, right? And you see that actually reflected in the painting. If you go back and rewatch the beginning of the episode, I think it's the Asian lady, right, who's drawing it.
Right. Her painting is kind of divided between 2/3 for the Dada and 1/3 for the baby, and you can see the exchange going between those two component parts.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know, just an interesting little tidbit, I guess. But we did have very passionate people in the writers' room about this kind of stuff, which I think, I mean, it added a certain layer to Trek that other shows didn't have, and a lot of them still don't really.
Do you remember? Do you remember the wrestling match that broke out in the writers' room over the Monet-Manet disagreement?
It rings a bell.
They were passionate art guys in there, and just someone comes in and says some. I think it was they were insulting Starry Night, and chairs were thrown, wrestling went down, but everybody came out a stronger friend than they entered.
Yeah. Well, that's not. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's all French to me, really. You know.
Right. Especially the croissants.
Especially.
Yes.
You're into croissants recently, aren't you?
I'm into most things that could be classified as bread in some form. Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
God help you if you put anything on it.
Did you know there's a deleted scene of I found this while looking up this episode on Memory Alpha. I didn't actually know this. There's a scene of Picard just splashing red paint all over his painting after Data leaves.
I did not know that. I can't imagine why that would be cut. That's hilarious.
I know. That's like the perfect cap to the scene. It releases all the tension. I'm not sure why they got rid of it in editing, but
maybe for timing, because this is just such an action-packed episode with.
It certainly is.
Nothing that can be cut.
It certainly is. So this episode, like, it actually starts out, before we get to the painting, there's a little exposition, right, where they talk about how Riker and Geordi have gone to some space station overnight to check on the development of. We don't even know what this thing does. It's Krieger waves.
Krieger waves. It's supposed to be a power source.
It's named after our science consultant, David Krieger.
Right. Who was also George Costanza's boss on Seinfeld for a time.
Right.
Mr. Krieger.
Mr. Krieger. Yeah, it's supposed to be a power source, potentially for weapons as well, which the Federation is not seeking, but we later learn that other parties may be.
Yeah, the scientist is kind of developing the weapons capabilities alongside of it.
Yeah,
just to get some profit.
Yeah, he's trying to make that green.
Yes, which we all are. We all have a side hustle.
Right. Yeah, so the episode really, the plot really opens up, the plot, the real plot opens up with them, the Enterprise, going to collect Riker and Geordi.
Right, Geordi being on the planet and Riker being on the space station.
Geordi was on the planet?
Well, he wasn't on the space station.
Oh yeah, I guess he wasn't. Huh.
I mean, he couldn't be, right?
So somehow that slipped my mind.
Did you think that he died?
I thought, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I thought Geordi went back first, but like Riker wasn't over there very much longer than he was. So.
They say that he went to the planet with that guy's assistant for whatever reason.
Right. Yeah, for whatever. Yeah, exactly. For plot convenience.
Now, do you think it's strange that a whole space station is manned by 3 people?
Yeah, I didn't think of that. But that is really stupid. But I mean, we're no stranger to that in Star Trek. We have an entire starship where the 5 most important people consistently put themselves into danger.
Everyone but Troy.
Everyone but Troy. Although I'm sure Marina really wanted to. Yeah. Interesting fact about the space station model. It's reused from the original series movies, actually.
Oh, that's great trivia.
Yeah. And it'll also be reused several times in DS9.
Is that the titular DS9?
No, it's too small.
How big do you think DS9 really was as a model?
Probably way bigger than that.
No, it was like, I don't know, 8 inches across.
No, it wasn't.
I remember holding it in my hand, and I kept making jokes about holding the whole world in my hand.
Yeah. The whole world, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might have been holding a miniature, Mitch.
Okay, get this. Pop quiz. What planet is Deep Space Nine orbiting?
Vulcan.
The correct answer was Bajor. Now, okay.
Did they ever go down to the planet?
Oh, plenty of times. Now, here's another question. What TNG character hails from Bajor?
Ro?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. Oof.
I'm shocked that you remember her.
Yeah. How could I forget? Yeah, we have stories.
Oh yeah. But anyway, coming back to TNG in this episode, Riker comes back from the space station and then it blows up.
Yeah, then it blows up. And he barely makes it out alive. He starts like flickering and stuff, and you're like, "Oh, is Riker gonna make it?
Is he gonna die in the first 3 minutes of the episode?
Is this finally the episode where they kill off Riker? This freak's had enough."
No, not unfortunately.
No.
It's not a Yar situation. So. Besides, Riker, we established this. Riker can never die in a situation that did not rhyme with his name. Right.
Yes, that's very true.
He would have to be killed by some kind of rogue piker in an armed conflict,
or a space biker.
Right, a space biker. This is true.
A hiker.
Yeah, or a fine Jewish man.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very true. Or an open micer.
Yes.
Go to the holodeck and.
Or by what is it, Jonathan Riker?
yeah. Or by a yiker, someone who says yikes all the time on Twitter.
Yes. Wow. There's just so much here.
You could really kill off Riker with so many different things.
A horde of lesbians, even.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh man. Well, we got something to think about for the new show.
Right. Every episode is Riker dodging one of these mortal threats.
At the beginning, it's Q telling him he can only die to things that rhyme with his last name.
Oh God. Very interesting.
So we get okay. We have this guy called Crag.
Yes. No, yes. The inspector, constable, detective.
Yeah, from the planet, who, get this, is played by Craig Nelson.
Wow, do you think that's a coincidence?
It would be a pretty stupid one.
Speaking of things we're no stranger to.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so he wants to detain Riker and put him on trial on the planet, which has a really stupid justice system.
How so?
It's basically the opposite of our justice system.
I don't think that. And by the way, this idea resurfaces in DS9, as all things do. I don't think the idea of a guilty until proven innocent justice system is inherently dumb.
Oh, come on.
What?
It's stupid.
So let me go into this DS9 connection. On DS9, they expand upon the justice system of Cardassia, the Cardassians. And
like Kim?
Yeah, Chloe. All the whole gang. And
they need to be put to justice.
Yes. So on that planet, they have the guilty until proven innocent. And basically, the assumption is that the justice system is infallible, and the trials are just kind of a pretense, with the goal of using the indictment and the execution of criminals as motivation for the public against wrongdoings. Which it seems like a logical thing. Obviously very inhumane, but that's what that society is purported to be. And to me, it makes sense that a justice system, and this is going to sound ridiculous, would be built without justice being its primary motivator.
All right. Well, yes, that's not necessarily what I meant when I said it's stupid. Of course, it makes logical sense for a society that you want to control, but
well, okay. If that's the case, then why is it stupid?
Just because the way it's portrayed in this episode is it's explicitly made the exact opposite of the American justice system.
Well, that's with the narrative need to prove Riker's innocence. It's a lot more exciting for our heroes to have to prove his innocence than for
Oh no, yeah, sure, prove his innocence by all means, but I'm just saying the way they set it up, the way the way the exposition works on this, the dialogue, I thought it was silly. That's all.
I suppose. I think there is an exchange where Picard says, well, in our justice system,
in our society,
it's innocent until proven guilty. And then Craig says, well, we're guilty until proven innocent.
right. It's just like, oh, okay. Come on. You don't actually say that. Like, innocent until proven guilty is very, I don't know. I would consider it very contemporary, very American, right? I don't know if that was ever really used as such a set phrase as before, its appearance in Western society like a few hundred years ago.
Right. It's not an inalienable truth to sapience.
Right. Yeah. You don't go to an alien and say innocent until proven guilty, and they understand all the baggage that comes with that.
Right.
So yeah, that's why that bothered me. But whatever. I guess I'm just retarded.
That is the point I was making.
Yeah. So Craig's conceit is that Riker killed Dr. Apgar.
Right. And he has good reason to think so.
Yeah, because he teleported off there the second before it exploded. Quick note about Dr. Apgar. Actually, we haven't talked about Dr. Apgar.
No, he's too old to talk about.
Dr. Nell Apgar, played by Mark Margolis. His brother was in Enterprise, I think. His younger brother, maybe a different one. I can't remember. The other Margolis, but just a quick aside. The way have we talked about this? The way we make alien names up?
No, I think it's time.
Yeah. So this wasn't across the board entirely the case every time, but it was pretty common that we would source alien names from anagrams that the writers would make from the winning words of our weekly Scrabble tournaments.
Right. Which were very intense, I might add.
They were big and they were intense. It was almost everyone in the crew. And you would kind of sit at a table and play a game with four people, and there would be like 4, 5, 6 groups of 4, and eventually it would come down to like a final one. It would take hours. It was usually an entire day.
A lot of screaming.
Yeah. So in this case, we derived Dr. Nell Apgar from the word arranged.
It's just a good word. It's a 7-letter word.
Yeah.
Maybe.
and you'll remember this that Dave used that word to win off 2 triple letter tiles.
Ridiculous.
Which was a huge upset.
I'll give Dave credit. That's a word that he could conceivably know. He wasn't, sneaking off to the bathroom with a dictionary.
Right. It's not like he played City Word or something like that.
Yeah, which is just
ridiculous,
just insane.
It's baffling how someone would think that like it's okay to play that. But either way, I mean that win was a huge upset. He was not even close to the pick for the winner at the time. So, but anyway, I digress. The one interesting thing here is that because of the letters that were available, we had to make the character a doctor, right? So that actually did end up pretty heavily influencing the plot of the episode. We needed a doctor, so we put him on a research station.
Right. It
kind of developed from there.
It was a big far cry from the original concept of a grocer that we had.
Right.
Which I don't know why we chose that. It was going to be very, very difficult to make a compelling plot with that occupation, but
Well, it was new ground. I mean, I think we were looking for something fresh. We were kind of riding this high at the time, which we continue to ride. But there were certain people who wanted to do something different, and for good reason. So, but yeah, unfortunately, that never ended up happening.
No.
Oh well.
But I'll say this: it was always a badge of honor when your Scrabble word became a character of the week.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I've kind of forgotten what my wins even were. But
I don't think you ever won.
Sure that's not true.
You win Scrabble? No,
that's not true. Hey, listen. I distinctly remember a few games where you absolutely just completely flubbed it.
Yeah, and the ones where I pissed and shitted myself afterwards. Well,
yeah, I can't imagine you would piss and shit yourself in celebration, but that could be.
All I know is that one of our new Patreon tiers has Scrabble nights with the patrons. So
it's true.
If you're gonna tell any lies about your Scrabble prowess, they'll all come out.
Mm-hmm. Well, also you forgot to mention that the end goal of this is that we're going to try. I can't guarantee it, but we're going to try to get one of the winning words in either a Picard season 3 or a Riker season 1.
Right. Hopefully as an alien species, but if not, at least a character. Like
yeah, maybe both though.
Like Riker's black adopted son, his name.
Right.
Billiam G. Riker.
Okay. All right.
So Apgar is very, very I don't know, by the book, I suppose. He seems
like it.
He's like just a detective, which is fine. But what I really like.
No. You're talking about Crag.
Yes, Crag. I am talking about Crag because that's where we're at. Crag is there, and what I like is, Picard's, I don't know, cognizance of the situation, where he's like, I can't have a private meeting with Riker because it's gonna look bad. It's gonna impact my impartiality.
Right. Right.
No, this is very logical, and it's better.
It's very in character.
Yeah. And then you got Troy coming along, like, it's okay, we'll save you.
I know you had sex with that alien, but it's okay.
It's okay.
Which I guess is Troy's role in basically every Riker episode nowadays.
It's getting cucked.
Yeah, it's a Riker has sex with an alien girl, and then Troy hugs him,
picks up the pieces.
yeah, pretty much. Riker has to kill his girlfriend or something. I don't know. Yeah. So the Crag is adamant that Riker be taken down to the planet and put on trial, but Picard's like, no, we're going to do it on the Enterprise, and we're going to use the holodeck and whatever. Real quick, in the Ready Room, first of all, fish watch. There's no fish.
No fish.
Second of all, where was I? Okay, so we did fish watch. What was on Patrick's lip?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it could have been coleslaw.
Could have been coleslaw.
Our famous coleslaw.
Could have been herpes.
Don't spread rumors unnecessarily.
Oh yeah, no, we don't do that. We don't do that here. Sorry.
I almost went to look this up. I'm there now, but I realized I don't feel like scrubbing through the episode, so I'm just done.
Yeah, no, it's noticeable. It's subtle enough, but noticeable that there's something wrong with his lip.
Is it off-putting?
It's off-putting. No, well, I'm not sure if it's off-putting on his lip, but it is off-putting.
Right. It could be on-putting. Oh, let me ask you something. Have you ever heard of Giga pudding?
Yeah, actually, it does ring a bell.
All right. Well, I don't really have much to say about it, but I just wanted to ask.
It exists.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
So, we're okay. So yeah, we're using the holodeck,
right? Which they come to that idea very quickly.
Yeah. Kind of an unprecedented use of the holodeck.
Although, at that point, it seems like that should be how all crimes are investigated. Or how trials are done.
Very good point. Yeah. And the Federation should install holodecks in their courtrooms, if they haven't already. I don't know if we ever see a Federation courtroom.
Do people still commit crimes these days?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a post scarcity society, so
now they're just doing it for the love of the game.
Certain segments of the population only commit crimes because they're poor, and there's no other reason.
Right.
Well,
I mean, it's their nature, I think.
Right. Well, no. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
You've never heard of the criminal gene?
It's only because they're poor. There's no other reason. So, yeah. So the idea is that Riker and the witnesses, and even Cragg himself, are going to program these little scenarios into the holodeck about what happened. Somehow they have the schematics of the entire space station and know exactly what it looked like, but I guess it is the future, so...
With only a 7.8% margin of error.
Is that what they said?
That's what they said.
Well, I'm glad you wrote that down.
I believe they refer to it as a marginal margin of error.
A marginal margin? Yeah, so that's basically the rest of the episode.
Yeah. Have you thought about... I'm sorry to cut you off, but have you thought about the logistics of them programming these scenarios in where, everyone's trying to remember every single thing everybody said? Riker's just sitting there alone in a room talking to the computer. He's like, okay, computer. And then she complimented my rippling abs and came on to me.
Right. I can imagine Riker struggling very hard to make it seem like he didn't do anything. Right?
Yeah. Well,
it's like, I have to make sure I say this here.
You get that sense from watching his accounts of things.
Yeah, you definitely get that impression because he doesn't act like Riker would at all. Who, Riker would absolutely be trying to fuck this woman.
Right.
Not to the point of raping her, but at least I don't think so. But yeah, so what we essentially end up with is basically, I mean, all the sets I think are redressed. It's another bottle episode.
Yeah, it's
very a lot of time spent in the same room.
I kind of admire the small scale of it, which is all due to its origin as a stage play.
Yeah.
Which was a cool idea, I think. But both Patrick and Frakes kept insisting it was too gay. They kept saying,
right.
So we just adapted it for television.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that decreased the homosexuality of it.
I think it increased it. I mean, the TV is typically the most homosexual appliance in most homes.
Right.
That and the cucumber.
You know what they say. Everything looks 20% gayer on TV.
That's right. That's right. Especially Starfleet uniforms.
Yeah, I'm sure they weren't too happy about that, but I haven't heard anything about that.
It'll all come out eventually of the closet.
So first we get to see Riker's account, right, which is very much the threads that connect them all are that Riker shows up, Starfleet shows up too early for this guy. This guy has been asking for ridiculous amounts of unobtainium or something.
Not dilithium, dianium?
Dihydroxycanethol.
Crystal meth.
Riker and this guy's wife clearly have several moments alone.
Yes.
And
she shows Riker to his quarters where a confrontation happens. Somebody comes on to somebody, and then the woman's
Apgar.
husband comes in, Apgar.
Yeah, Dr. Apgar comes in and either gets his ass kicked or punches Riker in the stomach. And then it's basically the issue of, well, after that point, it starts to become like, okay, how does this get resolved? So the first thing we see is Riker's account, which is very clean.
Yeah, too clean.
Right, it's too clean. It's obviously too clean. Nothing really happens, and you see him go through like a very routine inspection of this place. The guy gets mad, and it's clearly a misunderstanding. And then Riker goes home. Which, obviously that's not what happened.
Riker's also 6 inches taller in this version of events for some reason. This is very strange.
Is he? That's right. That's right. Yeah. Bigger Riker.
Right. But I do enjoy his interpretation of events. Oh, I just beamed off the station and then it blew up.
It's very funny. It's subtly funny, really. And probably goes underappreciated. The mystery I most want to clear up from this is who instigated Riker staying on the space station. Did he overstep his bounds as a guest and insist on staying, or did they invite him? That was the real crime. I would be inclined to say that that Manua. That sounds like a someone from Boston pronouncing manure. Manua. My name's Manua. Get used to it. Yeah, I would vote that Manua is probably the one who instigated it, but we see her side of the story after, right?
Yeah.
And or do we see Craggs?
No, Craggs. It goes Riker, Manua, the assistant, and then Craggs.
No, Craggs comes before the assistant, I think.
Maybe. Oh, where it shows the phaser shot?
Yeah, Craggs hypothetical.
Yeah, hypothetical Crag 1, which is a common phrase that was first coined in this episode.
Yeah. It actually did. It had legs.
Right. I think that one band used it for their name. I mean, obviously the name of the band, Hypothetical Crag 1. They still play the cons, right?
I've seen them around.
Yeah.
Obviously not, in this new normal, this very trying time.
No, but I've only heard them around in these challenging times for all of us. But me and their third chair synthesizer player are pretty good friends. He's a nice guy.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Well, yeah, we meet at the cons, and I'm like, oh, what's it?
Oh, yeah.
What's it like being the third synthesizer in a band of 8 synthesizers? And he's like, oh, that's right. It's pretty neat, It's no second synthesizer, but it's cool.
Hey, you got to take what you can get,
Right.
Beggars can't be choosers, and if you want to play track music,
yeah,
you have about 6 bands you can join. So. Each band is comprised of approximately 15 members.
He's the one that plays the Engage sample on their hit song Engage.
Okay. I do seem to recall that one.
Yeah. So it's a big responsibility. But yeah, they're doing all these different simulations, everybody's versions of events.
Yeah. So we see Manua, and
Manua.
Her whole thing is that basically Riker just raped her.
Right. In no uncertain terms.
I do have to note that let me pull the quote up. It was Michael Piller that said, I was very, very happy with the script, and I thought the show was disappointing. I guess it didn't translate properly. It was very ambitious, but the casting was off. If you had put Lana Turner in the role of the woman in that show, you would have understood it all. But I don't think it played as it was intended.
What do you mean by this?
Which, I mean, this is only to lead into my little anecdote here, which is that several people were frustrated with the casting of this episode, especially of Gina Hecht.
Hecht?
Am I getting that? I could never pronounce it.
Hecht.
Gina anyway.
Is that her name? Gina anyway?
Gina anyway. Gina whatever. Because I remember Doug Drexler, who, for those who don't know, and this is completely understating his abilities in pretty much every other field, he was basically our makeup guy. He stormed in one day, pretty early, I think it was in pre-production even, and demanded to speak with, I don't know, one of the producers. I think it was either Rick or Mike, obviously. And the issue was that he had developed this very distinct look for the Tanugans, right? Which obviously you can see in this episode. It's very harsh and angular with these prosthetics and stuff. And no one had told him, and apparently, I mean, this was a systemic problem. No one told him before he finalized that design that he was going to have to use it to make Gina look, even remotely attractive.
Which was an impossible ask.
Yeah. Although he made her look a little bit more attractive than she usually does. Somehow, miraculously. Real quick, interesting tidbit about Doug. He is actually the half brother of the Glide.
Wow.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
The Glide being, everyone's household name. Clyde.
Yeah.
The Glide.
Clyde the Glide Drexler.
Right.
Yeah. He got me tickets once to the Trailblazers and the Lakers.
Right. Those were court adjacent, right? Like in the general vicinity of the court.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
Yeah. I remember once he got me a small television to watch the games on.
A small television?
Yeah, like one of those portable ones you bring
mini ones?
While you're camping.
Yeah.
With the radio antenna.
Yeah, those were black and white back then, weren't they?
Right.
Yeah.
Not unlike the athletes.
Exactly like they are today.
Exactly.
Obviously leaning more towards one than the other, but
well, you got your Yao Mings. People who are so large that their body implodes on itself.
Chinese people do love basketball.
They do.
I always found that funny.
Just as a kind of cosmic, ironic humor.
Irony, yeah. The shortest people in the world, and they love basketball.
What sport do you think pygmies play?
Polo? I don't know. Imagining them like having to wield those gigantic mallets.
They can't manufacture them any smaller. These are the shortest mallets we got. Take it or leave it.
They can't even reach the ground.
They play croquet and just push the balls through.
Oh my god. Yes. Oh, I love it. Actually, imagining pygmies playing any sport is really funny. Just imagining them getting squished by a volleyball.
Oh, Lord.
This is bordering on, like, fetish territory.
Yeah, unfortunately. That's what the internet's done, but but it's hilarious.
Yeah. So in Manua's retelling of this story, Riker, she shows Riker to his room after he insists that he stay on the space station, and has spent the past 10 minutes staring at her at every possible moment. He basically tries to rape her.
He does.
Not in those words. Not in those words yet. But he's trying to pull her clothes off and whatever, and then Dr. Apgar comes in and he's like, I knew it,
and he immediately begins blaming his wife, if I recall.
No. He blames his wife in Riker's retelling, but he blames Riker in Manua's retelling.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. And Riker just can't stand this. Riker cannot stand watching this. So he starts freaking out. He starts chimping out at seeing fake Riker try to rape this woman. And he gets up and he goes and stands in the middle of the projection.
Right. He interrupts the show.
He gets in the way. Yeah, he gets in the way of everything.
Now, this is worth bringing up because there's a number of times where the projection, the holodeck, required the actors to kind of freeze in place when they said, "Oh, pause the holodeck," even though the screen with all the numbers on it kept flickering anyway, even when it's supposed to be paused, which really took me out of the immersion. But I think one time the director forgot to yell "cut" in one of those scenes, and the actors, including Frakes, were left standing there for a few hours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did I already write that joke? I feel like I wrote that.
I don't know. It's
whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. So, not an uncommon occurrence, really, though. To be fair. And needless to say,
a lot
Frakes
of gaps.
Not happy.
No. But we take great pleasure in Frakes not being happy.
Yeah. Luckily, he was practicing Zen at that time. So
Serenity now.
Yeah, he kind of took it as a challenge. He sort of just stood there meditating.
What do you think goes through Frakes' mind during a meditation? And
probably rape.
I was gonna say, don't say cake.
Sex and cake, probably.
The two finest things in life, but
That's true.
Not when combined.
Oh, definitely not. Certainly. Oh my god.
That's some feedy stuff.
Oh, I was thinking more like putting food on a woman's body.
Oh, that's how Frakes always ate his sushi.
He demanded that because I think it was maybe like once every couple of weeks we would order in sushi. There was a great Japanese place. I think we've talked about this.
Yeah,
there was a great Japanese place fairly close by, and around it was either around this time or season 4 when the show was really at its peak, really like gaining traction, and these people were actual stars now. Frakes demanded, and he got it. He demanded that one of the waitresses, whomever from that restaurant, stay with us while we ate the sushi, obviously strip naked, and put the sushi on herself so he could eat it off of her.
Right. I just wish he chose to put the wasabi in a better place.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. That only happened once or twice. So, and the second time it was probably intentional.
Yeah, but that scarring stays with you, you know.
Yeah.
The poor girl.
I don't even want to know. Damn shame. So yeah, Star Trek.
Right.
There's this line where and I don't know, I can't pick this apart too much because it's obviously a fake testimony, but in Manua's testimony, I found it funny that Dr. Nell Apgar, who is a 100-year-old man, tells her, "I'll get you everything you ever dreamed of, like one day or something." It's like, dude, you're gonna die tomorrow.
I mean,
he's probably gonna die tomorrow.
I find that whole marriage suspect to begin with.
Yeah, well, I guess that goes back to Pillar's point, where if you had like a really hot girl, then I think that would hit home a lot harder, right? Where there's clearly something off about this.
Yeah, And she's regardless of the attractiveness, she's a lot younger, or she appears to be. So, just you don't know if that's really supposed to be something to consider or not.
And I think that was supposed to be like a red flag.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, you have this girl who's probably like a little flighty, and she obviously
it's conceivable that she would want to be with Riker to get something she can't otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I'm belaboring this scene, but the when Riker says, "I certainly didn't rape her," my jaw dropped. I was like, "What?
Why not?"
Just a little, I don't know, a little explicit, but whatever. And then so then we get Tana's version, right?
The assistant.
Yeah.
Which is, I believe, basically supposed to be the Doctor's version of events.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that he went and told her what happened, and then she left the station.
Yeah.
Which is why in her version, the Doctor gets the better of Riker in the altercation.
Right. That was a funny detail.
It was.
But yeah, so here it's pretty obvious. You can see a little more objectivity. Obviously, Tana is going to be on Apgar's side, so you see some of, like, obviously she believes him when he says he punches Riker and knocks him to the ground, which is obviously impossible. But an interesting thing is this is the scene where, when the confrontation starts, he comes in and says, I noticed how you were both looking at each other, right?
Yes.
Which implies that he reported to Tana that they were both looking at each other in a certain kind of way. Which implying that this was entirely consensual and it did happen.
Yes. And
because why would he lie about that?
It's easy to understand why the other two would lie as well.
Right.
I do wish...
So that was funny.
I do wish that was a little less, clear. In that, it's like, okay, we see one side, we see the other side. Oh, wait, the one in the middle is most likely to be true.
Yeah, I guess.
It's a little basic, but whatever. It's not a 3-hour long film. We got 40 minutes.
I think we would have come to that conclusion anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so his version of events is much like Craig's, or her version of events, much like Craig's is, or maybe Craig's did happen after this one, because this is where Riker shoots the generator. Is that what they call it?
I think that's Craig's, not hers, because there's no way that she would have had any information.
Yeah, hers would have to end. So I guess you were right. Craig's does come after hers.
I'm a genius.
Yeah. Riker shoots the generator, blows up the space station right before he teleports out. Because we neglected to mention, the whole reason this holds water is because the energy source that blew up the space station was detected as coming from Riker's position.
Yes. And what I like about this is when, after this ends, in Craig's mind it's over. He says, I established motive, opportunity, and method, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really about, is Riker innocent or guilty? It's just, is it reason enough to extradite him? Which is a really logical take on that.
Yeah, and it's a different argument, really.
Right. It's not a trial.
And it's one that you're not expecting. Yeah. So it calls for a little more creative approach, which I guess is what we kind of get with the B plot, where the Enterprise is being bombarded by small pockets of radiation.
I thought this was so
every
dumb.
5 hours. Yeah, it's a little silly that the way this wraps around into the main plot. Right?
Yeah, it doesn't, until it comes back to the main plot, it feels very extraneous, and it basically is.
Tangential. No. Yeah. So yeah, we and there's very few actual scenes. It's like every now and then we'll get a scene of, oh no, there's radiation in deck 4 loft A. Everyone evacuate.
That's what's great about radiation is you can't see it.
But we do see that it burns holes into the side of the wall.
Right. But only in convenient places.
Right. And it turns out that it's the holodeck's fault.
Yeah, I don't like this explanation all that much. That the radiation interfacing with the faithfully recreated holodeck is the problem. Based on my image of what the holodeck is, that doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah. I guess it comes down to like, I guess if the radiation is interacting with this in a visual sense, like if the visuals are causing the radiation, which I guess I could maybe see.
The idea is that there's like mirrors that it's reflecting off of. Not literally a mirror, but
I do think they went to great lengths to try to figure out how to get this to work.
Yes.
So I don't hate it.
Narratively it works. It's just,
but it's a little convenient.
Logically, is where it tends to break down.
But that's the thing. I don't even know if logically it's necessarily wrong. I mean,
it could be right. Like, I'm not diving into the science here, but it feels wrong.
The initial reaction is like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Really? It could be right though. I don't purport to know anything about. After all, the science consultant is the one who figured this out.
Right.
So, don't argue with like Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's a genius. Bill Nye.
He talks about something about the light bouncing off a mirror taking 3 billion years or something like that. And it's like, oh, what is the thing he always tweets? He tweets it all the time.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's something like...
I don't follow Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I mean, I don't either, but he tweets this so often. I remember somebody posted a compilation of this.
Yeah. Right. All the things that... if I can look it up really quick, we'll do it.
What does Neil deGrasse Tyson tweet all the time?
Neil deGrasse Tyson keeps tweeting something sad and weird. You can kiss yourself in the mirror, but only on the lips.
That's it.
And then sometimes he prefaces it with just an FYI : sometimes he phrases it as for narcissists only. Laws of reflection require that if you kiss yourself in a mirror, it will always be on the lips.
Now, do you think he's senile or demented?
I think he's up his own ass.
Well, that's certainly true.
I recently, I don't know what came over me, but I decided to watch part of his Rogan interview.
Uh-huh.
And anytime Joe says anything, he gets like 2 words out and Neil just yells over him, and it's so funny. Because you just see Joe like getting ready to jump over the table and punch him in the face.
I had a similar idea. I wanted to watch his show on Netflix, but I turned it on and it was just a bunch of Canadian teenagers.
Oh yeah, that's right. What was up with that?
It's so strange.
Did they put the wrong show on?
I don't know. I didn't watch it until the end, so maybe he shows up later on. But
yeah. And maybe it's a biopic. Yeah.
There was that black kid in a wheelchair. Is he crippled?
Well, you know what? He probably learned how to walk again through the power of metaphysics.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Maybe we should rewatch that.
We'll have a Neil deGrasse Tyson watch night.
With new eyes.
With new eyes and old mirrors.
Mm-hmm. Dry lips.
I use moisturizer. I use lip balm before I kiss myself on the mirror.
I use hand cream.
On the lips? That's a crime.
And it tastes good.
You ever eat lip cream as if it was whipped cream.
Like lip balm, like the stuff you get in like the little jar.
Yeah, you kind of dip your hand in there, pull out a chunk, and feast on.
No, I haven't. Have you?
No, I me neither. Right.
And I certainly don't take bites out of chapstick. That would be disgusting.
No, I don't treat chapstick like my own personal pixie stick.
Right. I don't look like a popsicle.
Right. Or something else.
Yeah.
How does what does this episode end? Okay, so
Wesley. Wait.
Wesley Crusher.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I have to say something.
Go on.
When the radiation appears in Medical Day, that girl with the red shirt.
Okay.
Her pants were very tight.
They were. I'm glad you noticed that.
Yeah. I thought that was very un-Trek-like.
The dedication to the female form.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway.
If it's not a 40-year-old man in a onesie, it's not Trek.
Right. Or a frumpy woman with no curves at all.
Right.
Or very inappropriate curves.
Yes.
Where they shouldn't be.
Dangerous curves ahead.
So sorry to interrupt you. You wanted to talk about where this ends up going.
Yeah, I mean, they do all the courtroom stuff, and it's looking bad for Riker, and then Wesley Crusher saves the day.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was supposed to really save the day.
Yes.
He was going to be the one who...
He's like, oh, Commander, Captain, we know who killed General Apgar. Dr. Apgar.
Wesley was, and I mean, this is kind of a running theme of this entire season, and I think it was kind of just I mean, I know it was the producers just trying to fuck with Will. What they would do is they would have these first drafts where they would write Wesley in for a significant portion of the episode. This would probably be like every other episode. And then by the time it reached his final draft, he would have like 2 or 3 lines, right?
The Wesleying, we call it.
Yeah, the Wesley. This one actually wasn't that this episode. He was supposed to have more of a role. He was going to be the one who attended the trial, not Geordi, because Geordi ends up attending the trial and explaining the science of what happened to cause the explosion. In the original draft, it was Wesley because he had done some science project for school that it related to it, which was something that that was a well we often went back to. The problem is the producers realized that this was going to air in the middle of February, right?
Yeah.
So Wesley was off the table. So we get Geordi. We get Geordi coming in and explaining what we were just talking about. Apparently the radiation from the planet, not only did it reflect via the holodeck and cause radiation holes to form in the walls, it reflected off of Riker's something.
His warp signature? Beam?
Is that what it was?
I don't know. What did they call it? They beamed them. His beam.
Yeah, I guess. And it reflected back and just blew up the generator. And that's why it exploded.
And Apgar killed himself. Case closed. Now,
yeah.
When they closed the case, Krang is
the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
right
villain.
Krang just says, "Oh, okay. With this new evidence, I withdraw my extradition request." And Riker just kind of looks at him like, "You piece of shit! How dare you, motherfucker!" And he's just doing his job. It was very Riker had clear suspicion on him. What are you gonna do?
Craig is just like, "My apologies."
Right. And Riker just looks like it was framed
he glares
all
at
along.
Him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm disappointed we didn't get to see more of the fallout here.
Where everybody is suspicious about being around Riker, all the women.
That's what should have happened in this episode. He gets accused of it, and then he's walking around, and everyone's like, "Oh, did he do it?" No, I'm curious about exploring Manua here, because I mean, it's you can obviously imagine why she would try to frame Riker for doing this. But I wanted to see her get slapped or something, you know?
Yeah, I know you wanted to see that. That's all you want to see.
Yeah, that's a pretty common theme with what I want to see out of a Trek episode. But yeah, I guess that's it. It just ends. Like, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we won't extradite you. Case closed. And cut to credits. I think there's a scene with them on the bridge, but I don't really remember what happens in it.
I don't think there is. Oh yeah, there is. Yeah, Riker says engage, and then they go somewhere.
Right. He's like, oh, let's put this behind us. Get us out of here, number one.
Yeah. He like smirks, and he's like, okay.
Just another adventure for the crew of the Enterprise.
Riker getting almost canceled. Oh, let's just ignore that. Little known fact, before we wrap up and give our final impressions, there's a TNG novel that surprisingly people don't really know about, and I don't even think it's on Memory Beta, which is weird. But it's based on this what if scenario where Riker actually does get extradited, and it's called Riker's Island. TNG Riker's Island. It's worth a read if you can find it. Apparently, it's not easy to find.
It was one of the earlier releases of novels, if I recall.
Yeah. I wish, that might have something to do with it. Maybe the publisher went out of business or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember who it was.
Yeah.
I don't have it on me right now.
I think it was not Random House.
Not Random. Predictable House.
Predictable House, yes.
All right, so how are you feeling about this episode now?
I still really like it. My major complaints just stem from the time with the, not quite the B plot, but the radiation stuff. But those are really just small, isolated scenes, and overall, I still think it's pretty captivating television. If not as great as some of the other season 3 episodes, but still pretty good.
Yeah, I think the radiation stuff was clumsy for sure, but I definitely don't hate it as much as a lot of the crew seem to, which is bizarre to me because you had people calling it the worst episode of season 3. I think you had people calling it the worst episode of Star Trek in general, and it's like that's not even remotely true.
That's ridiculous. I can't imagine that.
That's psychotic. So, no, it's a good episode. It's fun to watch, and that's what's important.
How many saucer seps would you give it?
4 probably.
Wow, I was gonna say 3.5, but 4.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably hover around 3.5 to 4. It depends on the day.
3.75.
Yeah, 3.75. Yeah, that works.
All right, I'm into it. You got any trivia for me?
Yeah, so I thought I would do like a kind of themed thing where I'd ask you some trivia and then we'd like read down a list of further examples.
Okay.
I'm on the as usual Memory Alpha webpage article for rape.
Love it.
And okay, so you know, I know you haven't really watched much of the original series, but you know the characters. You have Kirk, Spock,
Lakora,
McCoy. Yeah, you have Uhura. You have Chekhov.
Okay, and his famous gun.
Yeah, and Sulu. Oh, and Scotty. Right.
Yeah.
There's an episode where one of the crew attempts to rape a Klingon science officer.
Okay.
And my question for you is, who was it?
What was the name of the woman again? Aurora?
Uhura. You got it. I'll run through them again. Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Uhura.
What?
Chekhov.
How do you say Uhura?
Uhura. Uhura.
Uhura. Okay.
Uhura.
All right, I'm gonna say Uhura.
No, come on.
Oh, come on. I mean,
can't rape.
Well, in my mind, that's why it would be there, because it wouldn't be. It was
a different time.
Okay, let me take a real shot then. Klingon science officer. Well, I know Scotty's an engineer, so he might be working with one. Which one is Bones?
That's the doctor.
Or is that McCoy?
That's McCoy.
Okay. No, he's a doctor, so he wouldn't be working with the science officer. What is Spock's job? Counselor?
Vulcan.
Blue guy? No, but he's too sexless for that.
Yeah, I don't think he'd do it.
I'll say Scotty.
Wow, racist. Holy hell. No, it was Chekhov, actually.
And what was his job?
He was an ensign. Ensign Pavel Chekhov attempted to rape Klingon science officer Mara while under the influence of a non-corporeal life form that fed on hatred.
Under the influence, I see.
But there's some really funny things here. A simulacrum of Don Juan assaulted and attempted to rape yeoman Tonya Barrows on the amusement park planet.
What series is this?
The original series. An evil transporter duplicate of Captain Kirk attempted to rape Janice Rand in 2266.
What series is this?
The original series.
Lieutenant
Lieutenant Ash Tyler remembered being raped by Laurel while he was her prisoner in 2256.
Interesting.
That's Discovery.
Oh.
In 2268, Lars attempted to rape Uhura.
Oh, Lars.
Rape gangs were a threat on Turkana 4. We know that one.
Yeah, that's Yar.
Rape was rife during the Cardassian occupation of Bajor.
Yeah, Bajor.
Especially in the Galatep labor camp, where Bajoran women were raped in front of their children.
Been getting a lot of that in my DS9 watch.
I'm sure. Sometime before 2371, a woman whom Kenneth Dalby fell in love with on the Bajoran frontier was raped and killed by 3 Cardassians.
Sounds about right.
As part of their psychological conditioning program in 2374, the Vori accused the Kraden of rape.
But that's just an accusation.
It's just an accusation. Apocrypha. There's an Apocrypha section on the rape article.
This is where you get the real weird stuff, like Troy's mother.
Yeah, just a little taste of how much rape occurs in Star Trek.
The answer, of course, being quite a lot.
Yeah, a surprising amount.
It's a good plot device. I think that's what everyone's always said. To use rape as a plot device.
Yes. That's all it's good for.
Yes. Well, with trivia, a very family-friendly trivia out of the way, that's going to be it for this episode. I want to give a quick shout-out to our sponsors, Denny's, home of the Moons Over My Hammy and the Tauntaun Men. And also, Pep Boys, home of the 3-minute oil change. Be sure to say the term Readier at either of these establishments for 15% off of whatever it is you're purchasing. That'll be it for today's episode of the Readier Room. Join us next time where we're readiest. Next week will be the readiest room, and then it's all downhill from there. Be safe. Stay ready. Wait, that's not it. Let me try this again. Be safe, and until then, everybody, please stay ready.
The troublesome little man-child.
I stand before you defrocked, condemned to be a member of this lowest of species.
Thank you, Ensign. Engage.
Do you consider yourself superior to us?
Should have told him to mind his own damn business.
But I stroked the beard thusly. Do I not appear more intellectual?
Computer, freeze program.
Have you never dreamed of climbing inside the bottle?